Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our My Solar for All listening session number 1. We've got several of these listening sessions planned in the coming months and weeks, so glad you could be here. My name is Jim Ostrowski, and I work in the Environmental Support Division at EGLE. We've got about 162 people logged in right now, and it looks like a lot of people are coming into our session. So we had close to 600 people registered, so expecting quite a lot of people to come on. So this is our first listening session for this series. I'm going to be moderating the session. I'm just going to run through a couple housekeeping guidelines before I turn it over to our presenter. First of all, the lines are all muted for right now. And so you can hear us, but we can't hear you at this point. When we go to the listening part, I will explain how it's going to work so we can hear your comments and let you unmute yourself. We are also recording this listening sessions as we do with all of them, and we'll post it up onto our YouTube channel in the next day or two. We'll also send a link out to everyone who registered for this listening session, so you'll be able to get it there. I'll advise you as well to keep an eye on the chat. So in the chat, we're going to be putting a few things, some important links that we'll be talking about, as well as we'll be identifying who's up next to make their comment when we get to that point. So keep an eye on the chat in your Zoom toolbar. Just a couple of things regarding the agenda tonight. So we are going to kick it off with a short presentation, about 15, 16 minutes. And then after that, we are going to open it up to hear your comments. And just a reminder that tonight isn't really a Q&A session. What it is us just listening to you. And I'll remind you again when we get to that point, but it is purely a listening session. We have staff here that are here to listen to you, and that's what we're going to do. With that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. Joy Wang, and she is going to share her screen and present to us. So, Joy, are you there?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Great. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we see your slides, so you can go ahead.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As Jim said, today is the first listening session for the My Solar for All program. I am Joy Wang. I'm the my program. Today, I'll tell you a little bit about the federal and state program, as well as our upcoming pilot opportunities, our current program status, and how you all can stay engaged and participate. We do have a lot of registrants today, so if we run out of time and you can't speak, please feel free to share your comments to our email at egle-misfa@michigan.gov. And please include the subject line, My SFA Listening Session 1 comments, so that we know that it's flagged accordingly. And if you have any questions after this presentation, feel free to send them to that email too. We're currently updating our website facts, and we'll do our best to address them. So the My Solar for All program is a federally funded program that is dependent on the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency funds. The federal program is part of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund that is created by the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed by Congress and signed by the President. The U.S. EPA Solar for All program is intended to benefit low-income households and provide access to affordable, resilient, and clean solar energy. There are a total of 60 grantees across the nation that have committed to funding residential and residential serving community solar projects, create equitable access to affordable, resilient solar, and to deliver good paying, high quality jobs. So the state of Michigan was awarded $156 million for this program. And of that amount, 75% is going to go to direct financial assistance for projects to implement residential rooftop solar and residential serving community solar projects in our communities. We also have funding for enabling upgrades and associated storage that has to go along with one of those eligible solar projects. The remaining 25% of our funding will go towards technical assistance to communities to assist them, as well as workforce training and to meet programmatic needs like vendor management and monitoring and compliance. The My Solar for All program will increase affordable, reliable, and resilient electricity. The program aims to reduce costs for an estimated 16,300 low-income households in our state to provide an average 20% electricity bill reduction, or its equivalent. This is about $400 to $450 per year per household, or about $11,000 to $17,000 per household over the 25 years expected life of the solar investments. In total, the program is estimated to save over $300 million for our low-income families over the investment lifetime. As I said earlier, we have funding for enabling upgrades, which will help support roof repairs and electrical system upgrades in low-income households, and those are costs that those households won't have to bear. The program will also improve household or community energy reliability and resiliency. We have associated storage funding for select projects, so those investments will help store electricity for later use, including during electrical outages. And by producing electricity at home, we also help strengthen Michigan's energy independence. The My Solar for All program will strengthen Michigan's communities and economy. We will provide workforce training and development in the program, which will help support a pipeline of folks who are working in this industry. And the program investments will create an estimated 700 good-paying, high-quality jobs. There will also be economic development opportunities for our state and our communities. The community solar hosted within our communities may provide a variety of benefits, and the program has technical and community assistance opportunities available to really support our communities to realize their goals in these areas. The investments the program make will use American-made and likely some Michigan-made products. We have some very large investments that have occurred in Michigan in solar manufacturing, and we do have a supply chain of manufacturing and commercial industrial businesses in Michigan working on solar-related areas. My Solar for All will support a healthier Michigan by helping households have better roofs and update their electrical systems to support the residential rooftop investments. We help also improve the health and safety for our low-income households that are participating. Our program will seek collaborations with existing related programs like home repair, and it will try to aim to do more for the low-income households that participate to really maximize the household energy savings, the cost reductions, and their comfort and health. My Solar for All will also help protect Michigan's land and water through cleaner air for everyone. The investments will avoid an estimated 272,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions over the 25 years, which is equivalent to recycling over 23 million trash bags of waste instead of landfilling them. So who's eligible for this project? The Federal Solar for All program defines low income as income not more than 80% of area median income or 200% of the federal poverty limit. And in non-metropolitan areas, there's a third criteria of 80% statewide non-metro area AMI. And so of the criteria that applies to your area, whichever is highest is the limit. So our program has to use the latest publicly available figures from the federal government, but I provided a few here for your reference only. So in 2024, AMI in Michigan varied anywhere from $63,000 to $75,000. And the federal poverty limit has kind of differences based on the number of people in a household. And for a family of four, 200% of the federal poverty limit would be about $64,300. So the residential rooftop solar definition is a little deceiving in some ways that it's called residential rooftop. It's not just for rooftop solar, but it can also be pole mounted or ground mounted solar systems that deliver all the power that's generated to residential customers. And these customers can be in existing and new single family homes, manufactured homes, or multi-family buildings. And those buildings can be classified as commercial buildings if the solar benefits residential customers directly or indirectly. And these properties can be rented or owned. Residential serving community solar is defined as a solar PV power producing facility or solar energy purchasing program from a facility with up to 5 megawatt capacity that delivers at least 50% of the power generated from the system by delivering at least 50% of the benefits derived from the power generated to residential customers in the same utility territory as the facility. So the My Solar for All program will work within Michigan's existing frameworks, and we see two potential main types of projects in this area. In front of the meter community solar, where the solar is on the system before you get to the customer meter, And this will likely be a larger solar farm. And it would be eligible as long as 50% or more of the benefits are shared with low-income households. And community solar, where one or more solar projects are sited at host sites within Michigan communities. Solar would help offset the host site's electricity use, but they would have to agree to share 50% or more of the benefits with low-income families within the same utility area. And these benefits do not have to be provided on a utility bill, so it does allow grantees to have a lot of innovative ideas, and I'm very excited to see what you all come up with. We also have funding for enabling upgrades and storage that has to accompany the solar. They cannot be made alone. So enabling upgrades must be an investment in the energy or building infrastructure that's necessary to deploy or maximize the benefits of the installed solar project. And associated storage is infrastructure to help store the solar generated power, also to help maximize residential rooftop or residential serving community solar deployments. And for both of these cases, they must be deployed in conjunction with an eligible My Solar for All solar project. So I want to thank you very much for filling out the interest form that we currently have for the My Solar for All program. Your responses to that survey actually prompted us to develop pilots for this year. So originally, the state of Michigan applied for a larger amount than we were awarded, and we had to revise our work plan and budget. And during that process, we reviewed your responses. We received almost 1,000 responses by that point, with over a third that provided comments. And those comments, we read them, and most of them expressed its desire and a need for the My Solar for All program. There were homeowners there who were seeking relief from really high energy costs. And there was a lot of interest on potentially partnering on a project with the My Solar for All program, whether it be homeowners or multifamily developments, but also business owners within our communities who really wanted to host community solar and to contribute to the community and give back to the folks that were in their community. And one comment was really striking. It said, urgency is missing. And we heard you. Originally, we planned to start the My Solar for All program offerings in 2026, but now we'll be offering pilot funding opportunities this year. So the US EPA has approved for us to have a little under $9 million of pilot funding for the 4 different areas of project funding. And we aim to offer these funding opportunities by March or April of this year. We are seeking input from interested parties like yourselves on the pilot program structure and expectations, specific end uses to explore, such as an application or RFP process, and how we might be able to streamline that to make it easier and more accessible, and how to deliver a diverse range of pilot projects and participants. Excuse me. So there are some possible Solar for All project opportunities that we see, and one of them is to help increase electric reliability and resiliency. Excuse me, I apologize. To provide solar and storage to vulnerable households that are low income. Where some of those households might be ones with young children or individual with disability, individuals over 60, and others. And that also might be an opportunity for community solar behind the meter host sites that are providing critical services, such as our police and fire stations, our water or wastewater treatment plants, hospitals, emergency shelters, and even businesses that serve critical service providers, such as hotels and restaurants that serve our electric utility service restoration workers that get us back online when we experience grid outages. Other opportunities for My Solar for All projects. For single family and multifamily solar deployments, those could be residential rooftop solar projects where that solar serves those households or multifamily building tenants directly, or they could even be residential serving community solar projects, as long as they're willing to share 50% or more of the benefits with low-income families in the same utility territory. Solar for All might be an opportunity for folks to aggregate behind the meter solar across host sites in the community to become one residential serving community solar project. And as long as those host sites are willing to share 50% or more of the generated benefits, they could be any building in our communities, our schools and educational facilities, commercial industrial businesses, nonprofit buildings and our houses of worship, or residential host site that you think fits in your community. And of course, large-scale community solar projects are also another opportunity here that could support maybe greater community ownership or equity. So of course, this is not an exhaustive list of possible projects, and we definitely look forward to seeing your innovative ideas. Currently, we're starting the input design, the program design and input phase. And our goal is to design a flexible program that meets the EPA program guidelines and Michigan needs, while allows space for you all to propose interesting and innovative ideas. We're seeking input from interested parties to inform our program design and offerings, as well as how we prioritize the projects that we select. We're currently developing varied input opportunities, and I'll share more about that later. We currently have a behind-the-meter solar and storage study with the Great Plains Institute and the Georgia Institute of Technology that aims to identify for varying consumer types behind-the-meter solar energy bill savings, as well as to analyze when co-locating energy storage makes economic sense and the approximate size of that storage. They will also try to compare behind-the-meter generation with some utility-scale solar costs. So we want to thank everyone who's already offered to share their data with the researchers. There's been a lot of offers of residential data, and they're seeking more non-residential energy use data at this time too. So if you are willing to share 1 year of smart meter data or sample days of hourly electricity use during the weekday and weekend for the 4 seasons, please reach out to Rena. Her email is on the slide here. Regarding the current program status, we are excited about the opportunity that My Solar for All brings to Michigan. It's in alignment with Governor Whitmer's focus of putting more money in Michiganders' pockets and reducing energy costs. My Solar for All is a federally funded program dependent on US EPA funds. And I know there's been a lot in the news lately about federal grants. I want to say that Michigan has a grant agreement with the US EPA. It's a legal contract obligating program funds for My Solar for All. And these obligated funds are committed as long as we remain in compliance with the program terms and conditions. Your input and collaboration is important, especially in uncertain times. It will help support the development of an effective and innovative program for Michigan and in developing projects and applying for the opportunities and offerings that we have with My Solar for All. We hope that you stay engaged with our program. Please join our future listening sessions. They're all in the evenings. You can see some of the dates here. We have an interest form. Please fill that out if you haven't already. Sign up for our listserv so you get our program updates and know what we're up to and what we've accomplished. If you're willing, share some data with the solar and storage study researchers. And we're developing surveys and a request for information, so keep an eye out for those and please respond if you're willing. We are also trying to develop future focus work groups, as well as office hours. So please join those also. Our website is in the process of being updated. We thank you for your patience during this time as we are kind of trying to staff up, but we will have more information there in the future too. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we hope that you develop projects and apply for the funding opportunities through this program. Thank you so much for your attention today. I really look forward to hearing your comments. There's a code there you can scan to fill out the interest form, and really excited about this program. We really believe that the future is bright here in Michigan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joy. Good presentation. I'm going to bring up my slides here in just a minute. If we would, we're going to start out our listening session right now. And I am going to have all of our listeners from EGLE here go ahead and turn your cameras on and introduce yourselves. And then I'm going to run through how the a listening session is going to work. So go ahead, Julia, you can start.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Julia Field. I'm the Deputy Chief Climate Officer here in EGLE's Office of Climate and Energy.
Everyone, my name is Haley Neuenfeld. I'm a Climate Finance and Funding Officer at the Office of Climate and Energy.
All right, thanks. And we know Joy, so thank you. All right, so we're going to be here listening to you. Also, Caitlin DeVries is behind the scenes, and she will be putting this information into the chat. If you haven't already done so, check out the chat because she did drop in there the email address that was referenced to add comments if you want to send us email comments. Also, a couple of the links that were talked about earlier are in the chat as well. Just a note that tonight we've got a lot of people registered. We've got well over 200 people signed on tonight. So this meeting was slated to go to like 7 o'clock, and we can hold it a little bit later. We can run a little later if we want, but if we start getting too late, I'll let you know, and we might have to end it. And if we still have hands raised to make comments, just remember, you can send them into the mailbox. Comments you send in via email have just as much weight. It's mean the same thing as comments that are made verbally to us here tonight. So just want a reminder, especially for those that might have to leave early to get to some other function or something like that, that if we don't get to you right away, you can send your comments in via email. All right, so just kind of run through how we're going to do the listening session, because some of you may not have been on a listening session with us before, is that if you want to make a comment tonight, click the raise hand icon on your Zoom toolbar. That lets us know that you want to make a comment, and I will call you in the order in which you raised your hand. I'll do my best to do that because it shows me who's got their hand raised right now. If you're on the phone and it looks like we have at least one phone-in caller, one phone-in listener, you could hit #2 on your phone. If you hit #2 on your phone, that indicates you want to make a comment, and we'll call you by the last couple digits of your phone number and let you know there. Like I said, we are going to call everybody up in order that their hands are raised. If you look in the chat, Caitlin is going to put who is on deck. So she will let you know who is going to be up next for comments. So you can be ready. So keep that eye on that chat and you will know where you stand in the lineup. We're going to put like 4 people at a time in there. It looks like we already got like 13 hands raised, just to let you know. And so that's how we're going to do it. Your line will be muted until you're unmuted, and it will tell you when you're unmuted, and there'll be a little dialog box pop up on your screen, and you'll just hit unmute. That will allow you to talk. Each person is going to have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to make their comments. You will see a timer up next to me, and as well as on your screen, it's going to give you the countdown for 3 minutes. Once you hit the 1 minute mark, you're going to hear a sound like this. Hopefully you all heard that bell. If you hear this bell, that means you have 1 minute left, and so you probably want to start wrapping up your comments. Now, you have up to 3 minutes. So if your comments don't run for 3 minutes, feel free to end. You don't have to take the whole 3 minutes. It's perfectly fine. And just want to let you know to be mindful that we've got a lot of people that want to comment. So please stick to that 3 minute timeline. If there's more that you want to let us know, great. But you can just put that into an email and send it to us. Each person's going to have just one time to comment tonight. All right, I think I got everything. Did I miss anything, Julia or Haley, Joy? It's a lot of things that I talk about. All right, so we're going to kick it off and let's get started. So it looks like the first person with their hands raised is Maddie Jordan Woods. And after Maddie, we're going to have Reed Schick come up. So Maddie, your line is unmuted and you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak. For the past year, I have been attending every or as many as I could webinars on the solar and energy because our community has not getting the information. And so I'm learning a lot, and I think I have some residents on tonight. I've tried to share. So I guess my comment would be that I hope that you develop some type of form that really measures if people's homes actually got actually improve with the energy upgrades. And I say this because I attended a session where someone mentioned using used solar panels to put on low-income homes that were no longer working at the top of their capabilities. And I just hope that you don't allow that. Excuse me. So thank you for giving me the time. And I just will continue to keep attending these webinars and trying to pass that information on to my community. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Maddie. Next up, we have Reed Schick, and then Carly is going to be up after Reed. So Reed, you should be able to unmute your line. And I just want to remind everybody to please repeat your name when you come on. And if you represent any organization, please let us know that too. Thank you. Go ahead, Reed.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. My name is Reed Schick. I'm with Advanced Battery Concepts in Clare, Michigan. And I just want to comment that I believe Michigan Solar Energy for All would be greatly enhanced by adding more energy storage. 6% seems a little light. And as we transition to renewable energy, energy storage is really critical to enhance energy access for all, not just the affluent, but to promote energy equity and support sustainability. At Advanced Battery Concepts, we make home energy storage units for the single homes. We make commercial energy storage for commercial, or for like a small apartment complex, multifamily unit, or say a police station. And we also make big commercial grade energy storage units that would be good for community solar inverters. These energy units are manufactured in Michigan, employing Michiganders in good paying jobs. And we want to encourage more and more of that. And it's not just in Clare, but in several counties across the state. They also comply completely with the Build America, Buy America Act, which is kind of hard for energy storage. They're safe and affordable. It's based on aqueous chemistry that the batteries cannot catch fire no matter what you do to them, and has a better performance window than LIF at a lower cost. These batteries are very environmentally responsible since they're already part of an existing domestic, fully circular economy. So there is no new mining. It's all here. It's all already in the United States. And I really want to see us promote Michigan jobs and the Michigan manufacturing base as we go forward with Michigan Solar for All. The benefits for solar are well known. For the bidirectional storage, adding that, it increases the effectiveness, increases the cost savings, enhances energy security, reliability, and provides backup power for the user, but also utilities can enjoy access to the energy storage as well. Managing demand cycles, grid stability, reduced power demand, load shifting, alleviating the stress in the infrastructure. So our real question is, how do we participate? Because we will never be leading a project on our own, but how can we get involved in these projects in Michigan?
All right. You all set, Reed?
I
Okay.
am. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right. Thanks for your comment tonight, Reed. Appreciate it. Next person up is Carly Knott. Carly, you should be able to unmute and go.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Carly Knott. I work with the Michigan Environmental Council. I just had a few comments I wanted to share, just given the overview of the program. In consideration of who to target for this program, I think when we're looking at residential serving community solar, there should be a focus on identifying communities that have high rates of energy insecurity, those that are receiving energy assistance, to give those communities more agency over their power supply. And then when looking at storage, I think having a consideration of frequency of power outages in those areas, those might be good places to have some of that storage that can help power homes in the case of power outages. And then I think also targeting residents that are currently on delivered fuels like propane. Switching to solar would be really beneficial for making their energy more affordable and secure, and for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I also just want to reiterate something that I often bring up with EGLE, which is that there's a lot of funding out there right now for home repair and decarbonization, energy efficiency, and the more we can coordinate those funds and making them easier to access, the better off the programs will be. So within EGLE, with the home energy rebates and solar for all, the more coordination you have there would be helpful. If you can collaborate with the weatherization assistance program and any like roof repair programs. So if there's homes that have gone through those that would be good candidates for solar, they can recommend them into this program. Having those communication between different programs would be really beneficial. And then I also just would recommend having a one-stop shop on EGLE's website for all of these different home repair and decarbonization efforts, and having a navigator tool so that when residents who are interested in receiving these funds go to the website, that they have some more guidance of what they might be eligible for and which programs they might be able to take advantage of. So any information sharing, coordination there that makes it more accessible to people who can participate in the program, I think that would be really helpful too. And those are all my initial comments. So thank you very much for considering those comments and for listening to me tonight. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Carly. Sorry, everybody, I was a little late on the bell. I was responding to a question somebody had mentioned in the chat. You'll see I put Monica's name in there in the chat for first person to comment, but Monica had put her hand down, so that's why her name wasn't called. And just a reminder too that if you put your hand up and down, it moves you around in the in the queue. So if you have your hand up, just leave it up and keeps you in the queue. All right, so next person up is Baratha Tan. So Baratha, go ahead. You're unmuted.
Yep. Thank you so much. My name is Baratha Tan. I work at Volt Solar. However, I'm just speaking on behalf of myself as a Detroit resident. I would like to second everything Carly just said. That was one of the things I wanted to mention. In addition to that, I was wondering if it's possible for EGLE to consider if there are households and members of the community that are applying to multiple programs such as Solar for All, such as homes, such as here, if they were to be accepted into those programs, if there could be a way to automatically uh, look at their income and then have that as essentially a check mark and use that information to expedite the approval process for the other program. So say, for example, if their income level fits the AMI requirements for Solar for All, if they could say, for example, get a check mark next to their application, and that information can be given for their here or their homes application. I think that could help streamline a lot of the application process, not just for Solar for All, but for all the other programs. My second comment is regarding homes, or whether it's residential homes or commercial homes with garages and potentially carports, and if EGLE could provide guidance on if projects of putting solar panels on garages and carports would fall within the guidelines of what you are looking for. And I say that just because, in Detroit, for example, there are a lot of properties with a lot of detached garages. And I think that could be another opportunity, not just talking about roofs right on the homes themselves.
Okay, you all set? Thank you. All right, next person up to comment tonight is Teresa Landrum. Teresa, you should be able to go ahead and make your comment.
Thank you so much. Teresa Landrum, coming from Detroit, Michigan. My question pertains to some of the things that Carly touched on. One was the qualification for individual residential homes. The income requirements, you said I want to know how they were set, because many people may be just above that income qualification, people that want to consider solar. And coming from an area that has the highest rate of power outages and the longest duration rate of power outages, Carly kind of touched on it. Those communities should be given consideration, in my opinion. Also, did I see in the amount that was broken down of the 156 million that it was only 1 million allocated for residential individual solar consideration? And for those considering solar who are already investigating it, is there any consideration of providing rebates if they do not meet the income requirements, if they are above it? Many of the seniors have had to get second jobs due to the rate of inflation, so that may put them over the income qualifications. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Teresa, for your comment tonight. Next up is Tamara Horn.
Hi there, my name is Tamara Horn. As a resident of a relatively rural area in Michigan, I wanted to provide an observation. This past year, I sought electric and energy upgrades to my home so it would be eligible for rooftop solar. The upgrades were complex, tough to navigate, and expensive. Plus, there weren't a lot of electricians and service providers where I live who were knowledgeable about solar energy. Secondly, I'm glad to see EGLE has set guidelines to ensure low-income and disadvantaged communities in Michigan receive the highest economic and environmental benefits from the Solar for All program. If you aren't already, I'd encourage EGLE to reach out and partner with trusted community-based organizations early on, and to develop the types of community-owned solar projects that fit best with each pilot community's needs. Lastly, I want to emphasize the importance of selecting and implementing projects that are truly community-owned, so residents not only have ownership, but also decision-making power over their energy source. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to the positive impact the Solar for All program will have in Michigan.
Okay, thank you, Tamara, for your comment tonight. Next commenter is Kim Hunter. Kim, you can go ahead.
Hi, Kim Hunter here in Detroit. Tamara actually hit, or everybody said everything that I've already agreed with. But Tamara really hit on what I was going to talk about. And it's like, there are existing groups, you might know about them already, probably do, North End Woodward Community Coalition and like Lord of Lords Church over on the east side, folks who are already doing solar. In the case of Lord and Lords, on the church, St. Peter's is working in this vein as well. And Reverend Ross and the folks at North End Woodward Community, they're doing solar in the neighborhoods right now. And so they would be really good people to reach out to. And so would Reverend Glass at Lord of Lords. They would be really good people to reach out to and get the feel of what is needed in the neighborhood, because these are people who have their pulses on what's going on in the neighborhood. The last thing I'm going to say is there should be an explanation of the relationship of this program to the utility, to the investor-owned utilities, consumers, and DTE. That relationship, what is the relationship to this? Is this stuff going through them? Is there a relationship there? What is that relationship? Because what I would really like to see is community-owned solar. There are lots of models for it, but that's what I really want to see, because this top-down corporate thing is not really working out too well for us on the ground. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your comment, Kim. Next up is Jim Moran. Jim, go ahead.
My name is Jim Moran. My company is Advanced Energy Group, AEG. While we're a Michigan company, for the past 15 years, we've been doing most of our work in New England. We work mostly with public housing authorities and other nonprofit developers, and we do solar, geothermal HVAC, and generally some storage and cogeneration or some other kind of generation, so that the heat can stay on in blackouts. which are often in New England as well as here. My question, I have a question. I don't know if it gets answered right now, but it would be when we provide solar, we provide at least enough solar to operate the electric heat pump when we do the geothermal. So besides having electricity stay on in the dark and a blackout, they can also have their heat stay on or air conditioning. So I'm wondering, my first question it would be, is the supplementary money, the 20% money on support, could that include geothermal heating and cooling, which saves an awful lot of money for these low-income households we serve in New England. My second question is if there is any movement. Years ago, as many of you know, we had the Solar Currents program here, which was financed by the RECs from consumers in Detroit Edison. And I don't know if there's been any movement on any of the plans to have a REC program to be developed along with this, which would be very, very satisfying for everybody to be able to get the added subsidy. And my third question is not really, it's tangential. I'd love to know what's happening with the state level with the commitment they got from the federal government for SEFI, for the State Energy Finance Institute, if that's been pulled back in the new administration. So those are the three areas I was interested in hearing about. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jim. We're not really here to answer questions tonight, but your questions are noted. And if you want, you can even email those to us using that email address that was put into the chat earlier. So you can throw it in there. Thanks. All right. So just in case we had some people come on a little bit late, just want to let you know that right now we're listening to your comments that you're giving to us right now. We're calling on people with their hands raised. So if you will make a comment, you can raise your hand and we'll call your name as your hand is in our order in our queue here. If you look in the chat, Caitlin is putting in who is up next in the queue. So you'll know you're coming up next if you're in the queue, in the chat. And with that, we will go on to our next person here to comment, and that's Joe Sable. Joe, you are there. There you are. Okay, good.
Yeah, sure. Hi, yes, Joe here. Thanks for this session, informative. I want to echo the previous comment about the community aspect. There's a lot of things in our society about big business that aren't working out well for the average person. So the community aspect needs to be strengthened. I've been a solar and heat pump advocate for decades. I have a natural gas furnace, natural gas water heater that should be replaced. The CO2 is not the issue so much, but it's the leaky methane. It's the most nastiest, pernicious greenhouse gas. So we need to disconnect methane appliances, or do not add any new ones, and tighten up any leaks in the methane system. To solar, here's the gaps that I see personally, and I suspect that there might be others that would fall into this. I'm a non-resident of Michigan. I won't tell you what other state I am a resident of, but I own a single family property in the Upper Peninsula. So what is available for me? You don't have to convince me that solar or batteries would be a good idea. This place could be run on that for any kind of blizzard conditions and so forth. Excellent southern exposure. What can I do? I also mentioned I'm a senior citizen, and not everybody who owns two houses, homestead plus a vacation home or whatever, is a millionaire and has $1 million in the IRA and 401k and stuff like that. So help for people who are. I don't rent my property. I'm not a renter. If I had this as a business and I'm renting my property, I would qualify under part of what you mentioned. But I'm not a resident, so where do I fit in here? I know that solar would be ideal for my property. I'd like to be able to pass this on. The structure is sound, and to use less methane going forward. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm done. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Next up is Patty O'Keefe. Patty, you can go ahead.
Hi, my name is Patty O'Keefe. I use she, her pronouns. I work with Vote Solar, and I am mostly just wanting to touch on the importance of kind of just as we move towards implementation, that we really want to see more community-owned solar options in Michigan. And we've been working with the Empower Michigan Coalition and doing some thinking about this, and just think that there are a lot of options for community-owned solar projects. There's energy cooperatives that are member-owned organizations where community members share in the ownership of solar. There's municipal utilities where there's more opportunity for local control and investment in the community, and then tribal owned and led projects, and then there's other models for community ownership as well. Some include homeowners associations, community land trusts, public-private partnerships, non-energy based cooperatives, and nonprofits. And so just wanted to share that kind of that that EGLE be really considering these, and not just considering them, but supporting them as part of the Solar for All implementation. Because we think that this community ownership piece is really important. I know a lot of community members have been asking for it.
All right, thanks, Patty, for your comment tonight. Next up is Rahid Al Farah. You can go, right?
Hey everybody, and thank you for giving me the chance to speak. I have a solar company here at the state of Illinois, and my company is one of the approved vendor at the Illinois Solar for All program at the state of Illinois. And we are really interested to be part of the Solar for All program at the state of Michigan. I have a question. I was looking at your website and I wasn't able to find what kind of credential you guys are required to be an approved vendor for that program. And for new vendors, if you want to be part of this mission, is there a certain application that we can start submitting or anything like that? And I saw in the presentation that you guys mentioned there is a pilot project that we can be done before the implementing the program beginning of 2026. Back to the same question, how to be part of this project. We have a really good experience with this program here, and we are helping a lot of our communities in the nonprofit and residential projects. And it's going to be an honor for us to be part of this mission. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you for your comment tonight, Rahid. All right. Next person to comment here is Armando Gataneo. Armando, go ahead.
Hello. Yes, my last name is always throwing in confusion. My name is Armando Gaetaniello, and I work at Reactivate. Reactivate is a mission-driven company that develops, owns, and operates renewable energy solutions to improve low and moderate income and energy transition communities across the country. Our focus areas are community solar, but also commercial and industrial solar, small utility scale solar, energy storage, and EV charging projects. The cross-cutting theme, though, is to serve really low to moderate income communities and energy transition communities in different parts of the country, including Michigan. And by delivering economic development and energy resilience with the renewable energy solutions, Reactivate provides cost savings, job opportunities, and workforce training and workforce opportunities with our portfolio. This is provided for businesses and creates positive social and environmental impact. We at Reactivate, we're keen on participating on the Solar for All program in Michigan. And generally speaking, our comments and questions revolve around how participating for a company like ours and everyone else, how it will work to participate, what is the timeline, what is the utility focus, as in whether investor-owned utilities are going to be participating, are going to be on our radar to have community solar projects, or will also co-ops will be involved. What will be required for the application? So basically, what requirements do we have to provide in order to get a community solar project under the Solar for All funds? Yeah, so this is basically what we're looking forward to receive as for information and to engage with you all on this program. Thank you all so much for opportunity to speaking, and I yield my time. Thank you.
Thanks, Armando. Okay, up next is Christopher Kramer. Go ahead, Christopher.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Great. I am a energy financing consultant. I do work in the Midwest and other regions. And I just want to reiterate that folks should definitely express their support for the program. My understanding, not specifically in terms of Michigan, but just in general, is that although funds for these programs have been obligated, programs are having trouble accessing the Treasury payment system to draw down funds. Given the timeline that you all laid out, that may be a little bit less of an issue if things get resolved over the next days, weeks, and months for the Michigan program. But at least currently, as far as I'm aware, accessing the payment system to draw down funds for these programs is unavailable, even for those funds that have been legally obligated. So I just want folks on the call to be aware of that. And again, definitely express your support for these programs and the Michigan program in particular. And at least for now, if the program can sort of keep people up to date on where things stand, I think that would be really helpful. And maybe if folks, just don't be surprised. We all know everything that's going on in Washington, so don't be surprised if there are some impacts there. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Christopher. Next up is Sheila. Sheila, go ahead, Sheila.
Hi, my name is Sheila Dudley, and I am with North End Woodward Community Coalition out of Detroit under our executive director, Reverend Joan Ross. And I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation because this is the exact work that we are doing and we're trying to do throughout our communities, which includes the North End of Detroit, Hamtramck, and the city of Highland Park. All of these are low-income areas that would benefit tremendously from being a part of the EGLE program. So we're looking forward to moving forward with this. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm hoping that we get a copy of the PowerPoint. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheila. Okay, John Forslund is up next.
Very good. Thanks for putting this on. This is an important issue. I'm concerned about the relatively small number of homes across the state that will be serviced under this program. Some of them will have to come to the UP, I believe, for a variety of reasons. But most importantly, I would like to see EGLE also offer to coordinate or to give some sort of springboard to the idea of mass buys around the state. That would be relatively low cost, I think, to EGLE. Could maybe made to fit under this grant system. But there are a lot of people who are interested around the state who would not fit the low income definition. but who would go for a mass buy. And if we can get enough mass buys going on, we can attract some of the companies that have been on the call already tonight into spreading their skills around. Okay, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. This is John signing out.
All right, thanks, John. Next commenter is Lauren Gottschalk. Lauren?
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for hosting these webinar sessions. I think it is so critical to inform and engage with stakeholders, both locally and across the country. My comment today is to strongly urge the program designers to consider the application process. A lot of engagement needs to happen to get people ready to go to even apply to one of the programs you are providing under the Solar for All umbrella, but then to enable them to have the most streamlined process there and even get fast-tracked if their project is already taken off and has the necessary stakeholders involved. And then think about the compliance and reporting at the end and to make that as easy as possible. Thank you so much for hosting this, and that's all I have to say today.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Okay, Christopher Kopetz is up next. Christopher.
Hi, my name is Christopher Kopetz. I'm actually part owner of Gold Star Innovations LLC. The reason why I'm making this comment, and a lot of people are talking about solar for all. My partner Oscar Costas, who lives in Portland, Michigan, has been a pillar in the Michigan community. He has a business there for 20 years, and I live in Louisiana. And him and I partnered on this solar this solar project. Being in Louisiana, like some people have said, I work in my state. We have a Solar for All program, and it's done fantastically. So I just wanted to bring our expertise to Michigan and see how we can help facilitate a lot of the processes for the Solar for All here in Michigan, and how we can educate the community, because solar is not only just about just lowering electric costs, but making the house more energy efficient. So if you're just throwing panels or on the house, and the house is not energy efficient, that's one of the focuses of the Solar for All program here in Louisiana. And so I just wanted to jump on here, introduce ourselves. Gold Star Innovations, we're a sales install company. We love to help out in any way that we possibly can. So thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks, Christopher. Okay, just to kind of check in with everybody, we've got 3 more hands raised. So just to let you know, if you want to make a comment, make sure you get your hand raised for tonight. And next person up is Debbie Fisher. So Debbie, you can go ahead. Oh, gotta unmute you. Go ahead, Debbie. Sorry.
Perfect. Thanks so much. My name is Debbie Fisher. I live in Detroit. I work for Hope Village Revitalization. We're a community-based organization that provides energy efficiency and minor home repair upgrades for low-income families in the Hope Village neighborhood. And my recommendations for the pilot are that, first and foremost, the purpose of the pilot should be to determine best practices and to determine how challenges can be overcome and the process streamlined on a range of types of homes. So in order to incorporate this learning purpose, we should have a plan not only for installation, but also for review and evaluation and surveys as part of the pilot application process. And to my mind, the best candidates for administering these pilots would be community-based organizations who have a history of installing solar and working with neighbors in their communities to update their homes. These organizations are familiar with administering pilot projects and home upgrades, and they work to break down barriers to application and provide homeowner assistance and general navigation for projects like these. Also, I want to recommend that the areas with significant and extended electrical outage histories and large vulnerable populations should be prioritized for the pilots. And then finally, it is important to set up the payment terms for the pilot projects so that homeowners or project implementers don't have to cover 100% of the costs up front and wait for reimbursement. And that's it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, Amanda Page, you're up next. Amanda.
Hi, hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
I would just like to reiterate everything that previous commenters have said about being excited about the prospect of this program coming to the area or to Michigan. Hopefully funding will flow as expected. I am representing both myself as an individual Michigander who lives in rural northwest Michigan, but as the program director of Bailey Park Neighborhood Development Corporation, in southeast in Detroit on the east side. And I would just like to say that I hope that the program, as you're designing it, also thinks about the workforce development aspect of green initiatives, because a lot of times the best designed and intentioned projects fail at the implementation because we don't have the workforce that has the proper skills to do the installations or the maintenance or the consulting. And that you figure out also in developing sort of the promotion strategy for getting applications, that you consider those areas that are not necessarily the first to jump on the quote unquote green bandwagon, and how to get messaging out to get buy-in from rural homeowners and rural communities. Because, you know, if I can't rely on my electrical grid, I'm going to be very loath to give up any of my natural gas that I can control. So how do you figure out the messaging to get people on board with this? And that is all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, Robert Karcher. You're up next, Robert.
Yes, thank you, Jim. My name is Rob Carricker. I'm co-founder of Absolute Solar, Michigan-based company, does solar installations, battery EV chargers, and pretty much everything in between. I just had two quick comments, and I'll yield back. But I think this was somewhat hit on here momentarily. But I just wanted to suggest or encourage that we make sure that there are processes in place that ensure that the quality of the installation, whether it be, service, proper permitting, everything else is in place for, installers to make sure that, not only are these folks getting the installations themselves, but they can be, reliable, quality installations that, do work as intended. And so I do think it's important there are parameters and mechanisms in place to guarantee that as much as possible. And then also I just, wanted to say I'm, thankful for, this program. I think it can bring a lot of good to Michigan. And I'm also thankful for, programs like Michigan Saves, which someone had made a comment about making sure funding's available. And I know Michigan Saves is a wonderful program that's done a lot to help people in similar programs, like this. So that is all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Robert. Sorry for messing up your name. Clay Otani. Clay is next. Go ahead, Clay. Clay, are you there? You should be unmuted if you want to make a comment.
I was talking. Yes, I was.
Okay, there you go. Now I can hear you.
First and foremost, thank you very much, folks. You did a wonderful job of presentation and really appreciate you guys doing this. What really impresses me, though, is the fact that all these comments, no one seems to be conflicting with each other. It sounds like we're all going in the right direction. Couple comments would be, I trust you folks have looked at neighboring states and what they're doing. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. One thing I'd like to suggest is, because there's a finite amount of money, that not only the income, but the amount of output of electricity that can be produced be considered. If you have two neighbors and one has a tree in front of their south-facing side, perhaps there could be a program that shares the electricity, if you will, with each other. something like that. So we maximize the production of electricity from the solar. Maybe that's too altruistic for people to do, but that would be a nice goal to see. And thank you very much, and you have a wonderful night. I'm done.
All right, thanks, Clay. All right, last person here to comment that I've got right now is Kyle Mundy. If anybody else that hasn't commented before wants to make a comment, go ahead and get your hand up now. So I will turn it over to Kyle. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Excellent. My name is Kyle Mundy. I'm a resident of Berrien County, Michigan. I just have a quick comment on this program. So I'm interested in how this program will target renters like myself and many people I know in some capacity. Renters represent a huge portion of Michigan's residents, especially in low-income and disadvantaged communities. And there's often very little incentive for landlords to implement energy upgrades like solar and heat pumps onto their properties. And I would just urge you to kind of keep that in the back of your mind as this program develops. And if there's any ways that the Solar for All could work to incentivize property owners and people who do rent out to also participate in this Solar for All initiative. Thank you guys so much, and I'll give back the rest of my time.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Well, it looks like we've gotten to everyone that wanted to make a comment who had their hand raised. Thank you all for being so timely and courteous to each other. I appreciate all your comments. If somebody here wanted to make more comments or had more things they wanted to add beyond what they said, feel free to just send us an email. And Caitlin put the email address you can reach us at earlier. I'll have her put that up again in just a minute. Also, Joy is going to be covering that as well. So Joy, I'm going to have you come back on and you can go ahead and share your screen again and kind of wrap things up here. Again, thanks everybody for providing so many good comments and for being so timely and courteous. Thank you. Go ahead, Joy.
Thank you everyone so much for your comments tonight. We hope that you do stay engaged with the My Solar for All program moving forward. As I shared previously, we have future listening sessions on different topics. Focus on community engagement, workforce development will be the next one in February. March 20th, we'll be talking about residential solar, enabling upgrades and storage. April 10th, we'll be talking about residential serving community solar upgrades and storage. And on May 14th, we'll talk about geographic distribution and equitable deployment, as well as prioritization and program design and project selection. We hope that if you have the time and the interest, please do join us for future listening sessions. As I shared earlier, fill out our interest form if you haven't already. Sign up for our listserv so you stay up to date about what we're doing and our offerings. Share data, if you're willing, with the researchers. And as we develop future input opportunities, whether they be surveys, RFIs, or focus work groups, please do take advantage of those too. We would love to hear from you and to design a program that really serves your needs. And we are in the process of updating our website. We hope that there'll be more information added as time goes on. So please be patient with us as we do that. And we really look forward to getting to developing our projects and engaging with our communities, have the opportunity to offer funding opportunities. So thank you all again so much for your time tonight.
All right. Thank you, Joy. And I'm going to have you leave that slide right up there so people can scan it if they want to. That's the interest form. Thanks, Joy. Want to remind you all too that we have we recorded this session and we're going to send a link out to everyone who registered. We had about 200 people on tonight, over 200 people on tonight, and there is way more than that that actually registered but just didn't attend tonight. So we're going to send out the link in case somebody missed it and wants to see it. And like I said, if you have any, and in that follow-up, we'll include some of the links and emails that we talked about tonight. I want to just put it out there. If Julia or Haley, anybody else want to make any comments before we wrap it up? Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and spending some time with us. I know your time is valuable. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and maybe we'll see you at one of the next listening sessions. Have a great night. Thank you.